What's up, Raptors fans? Welcome to the Warriors Report. I do want to apologize in further advance if my audio is a little bit off. I'm currently on vacation and out of town, and of course I don't have my mic with me, so the audio might be a little bit off. I do apologize in further advance, but it's time to talk about some Raptors news. So we know the Raptors were supposed to announce their final roster yesterday, and they had to make one cut to fill out the two roster spots. Now, Yuta Watanabe was a given. Nick Nurse did hint at that about several days ago. I covered that in my few videos ago. So the decision was really between Sam Dekker, Isaac Bonga, and Ishmail Wainright. I did make a video saying I think Ishmail and Isaac will make it. Obviously, I was wrong. But for today's video, I want to talk about the real reason why the Raptors decided to cut Ishmail Wainright. I also would want to touch upon the three players a little bit and the preseason performance. So before I get into the details of this video, guys, if you could do me a favor, give this video a thumbs up. It does help reach more basketball fans like yourself. And if you want to hit the subscribe button as well, that'd be absolutely amazing. And as you guys know, I like to give out shout outs to my random subscribers. So for today's video, the shout out goes to Abdullah Bengali. So Abdullah, thank you so much of your support of this channel, for your likes and comments. It is very much appreciated. And with that being said, guys, let's get into today's video. As I talked about, guys, I want to touch a little bit on statistics before I announce why I think the Raptors cut Ishmail Wainright. So when you take a look at these three players, they're obviously fighting for the two roster spots. Now, games played, obviously, Isaac Bonga got the most action. In terms of minutes, that was Ishmail Wainright, despite only playing 3 games, and his third game, actually, or excuse me, I should say his very first game, he played about 2 minutes, and he was 0 of 1 from the field, so that kind of hurt his field goal percentage. Had he not taken that shot, he would have been 4 of 8 from the field, and his field goal percentage would have been 50%. But when you take a look at the statistics across the board, I mean, nothing really jumps out at you, but they also did get limited minutes, and it was preseason action. But obviously, Sam Dekker really stood out in that performance against the Wizards, where he just went off for, I believe it was 17 or 18 points. And as I talked about in my previous video, he had about 14 or 15 points in about 8-9 minutes, and then he started getting doubled and triple teamed in a preseason game. So it was a little bit crazy to see, that he probably could have easily hit 20-point mark had they not double teamed him. But I mean, out of the three players, I think it's fair to say Sam Dekker, offensively anyways, looked a lot better. Now, when you take a look at the points and rebounds, I mean, as I talked about, Ishmail Wainright, although he only got 2 minutes played in his first game, he did get a lot more minutes in the next couple games he played. And as you see there, 11 minutes, 6.5 points, 3 rebounds. His field goal percentage was okay, but the other two, their field goal percentage was nice. Now, Isaac Bonga, to be honest, if I'm being honest, he didn't really show me a lot in preseason, as evident by his statistics. As I said, it's limited minutes. But when you take a look at his statistics, all of his statistics are under 2. His points per game, rebound, assist as well. But his field goal percentage is nice. And when you talk about Sam Dekker, now obviously having that big game against Washington, he did boost his stats up a little bit and his field goal percentage as well. But outside of that, he didn't really get a chance to show much. He didn't really get many minutes either. But as we know, the Raptors are really competitive, and Nick Nurse in particular, he's very strict about giving minutes to players, even in preseason. So obviously he was getting very limited minutes. But Sam Dekker, I believe, really showed out. So I think ultimately when you talk about Sam Dekker making the Raptors roster spot, that was a given, because as many of you guys have touched upon, his performance against the Wizards, but also the fact that the Raptors need baskets, and Sam Dekker has proved that although it is just one game, he's very well capable of going off, and we know the Raptors definitely need 3-point shooter. Now, this one here, I know a lot of fans, I've been reading about what you guys had to say between Isaac Bonga and Ishmail Wainright. A lot of people were saying the Raptors should cut ways with Isaac Bonga instead of Ishmail, but stop for a second and think about this just for a moment. We talk about undrafted players. We talk about drafted players and how the Raptors system is so amazing. Now, it was very obvious by the last game that Nick Nurse is a big fan of Isaac Bonga, given that he had started him. But when you talk about Isaac Bonga and Ishmail Wainright, I think you have to take into consideration the age. Ishmail Wainright is 27. Isaac Bonga is only 21 years old. So I think people really underestimate that aspect. It's as I've talked about in the past, this league runs on potential. So Isaac Bonga is only 21 years old, and he has NBA experience as well. And I'll keep going back to this example if I have to. But when we talk about young players, we drafted Malachi Flynn when he was 22, 23 years old. So Isaac Bonga, he's been in the NBA for a few seasons. He gets to be in the Raptors system. We can send him down to the 905 if we need to. and he'll get some experience. He'll develop in our system, and even if we have him for 3 seasons, he'll only be 24. And of course, he fits in with our new, if you want to call it, new image of the 6'8", 6'9" guys and the 7-foot wingspan as well. So obviously, he does need to get a little bit stronger and add a bit more weight, be more confident in shooting. His offense needs to develop. I think it's an absolute given that Ishmail Bonga, ultimately, you have to choose him because there's not many players listed at his age and size that you're able to just sign off of the waiver or the free agent market. So that was a given. I think that's one of the reasons I believe you absolutely had to choose him over Ishmail Wainright. Now, Ishmail Wainright, I want to touch a little bit on him as well. 27-year-old, 6'5", 235 pounds. It's actually amazing that he's got a longer wingspan than Ishmail Bonga. He's got a 7'1" wingspan. But when you do have to take into consideration, when you talk about decision making, you can't just choose someone based off of the fact that he is a great player. That ultimately, as I talked about earlier, that video of him talking in that interview and talking about how he didn't want to go back to Europe and playing, he wants to stay here for his family. And it was an emotional interview, but ultimately you can't put your emotions into your decisions. And I think they made the right decision in choosing Ishmail Bonga. And before you guys flare me in the comment section, hear me out. I think it's very fair to say that the Raptors have made a lot of questionable decisions this offseason, including Sam Dekker, including Scottie Barnes. There are a lot of people that said the Raptors should have taken Jalen Suggs, and as the days progress, as we see more and more of each player, I'm not saying that Scottie Barnes is better than Jalen Suggs as of yet, but I think personality-wise, fit-wise, there's a lot of people were hating on Scottie Barnes when he drafted him, yet the management made the right decision. And myself included, when they had signed Sam Dekker, I was quite mad that they had chosen Sam Dekker, but look, have a little bit faith in the management. It's fair to say they know what they're doing. As I've talked about in the past, they see a lot of things we don't see behind the scenes in practices, how much work a player is putting in. So I think ultimately, look, I want to go back on this screen here again because Ishmail Wainright, this is not to disrespect him, but Ishmail Wainright, he'll probably be with the Raptors for a couple seasons and be replaced. He's not someone you are going to invest, 4 or 5 years into, because obviously his age is a little bit older too, but just because, with all due respect to Ishmael, I think he's a little bit more replaceable. And not to say Isaac isn't, because we obviously have a lot of 6'8", 6'9" guys. I think the Raptors are banking on the fact that, he is going to be developed into something. And obviously, as I talked about, Nick Nurse does like him. So it'll be fun to see Ishmail Bonga grow. Of course, it is sad to see Ishmail Wainright go, but I think it's fair to say he will be given an opportunity somewhere around the NBA. I think there's no doubt about that. Another team will definitely pick him up. And guys, to end this video off, you know the drill. I am going to be starting this new segment where I do a trivia quiz at the end of my video. So obviously the last question I asked you guys was, who was the Raptors player that led the league in free throws? And most of you got it right. That was Jose Calderon. And for today's question, it is, who was the last Raptors player to win Rookie of the Year? Was it A, DeMar DeRozan, the phenomenal Brazilian KD, if you want to call it, who was 4 years away from being 4 years away, B, Bruno Caboclo, C, Damon Stoudemire, or D, Vince Carter? Let me know your comments or let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And of course, guys, I will be providing a bonus clip off the Raptors, kind of wishing the Leafs a little bit of luck. So if you're a hockey fan, you're going to like this. And thank you so much for watching this video. Have a great day.
Good luck to the Maple Leafs this season. Let's go. Shout out to the Leafs, man. Shout out to the Leafs, yes, sir.
Hey, man, it's Precious checking in, and I just want to say good luck to the Maple Leafs this year. Let's go.
Good luck to the Leafs this season. All the best and get some wins.
Good luck, Maple Leafs.